all this overthinking. The more I swim, the more I'm sinking. Take me to a world of silver. No more heartbreaks, tears, painkillers. Take me somewhere unfamiliar. Bring me back to where we started.
Hey guys, what's going on? It's Funko here. I'm back with you with the last video I have for this weekend. I know I did a lot of videos because, you know, the last week I didn't have any Funko Pops to unbox, and so I just made a bunch of videos for this weekend for you guys to check it out. So for this video though, it's not an unboxing, it's not a review, it's more of a discussion. I love Spider-Man. I know you guys probably know that by now with all the videos that I do. I already did 2 videos, one for my top 10 Spider-Mans and one for my top 10 villain spider villains. They were a year ago, but now that a year's passed, we have so many more Funko Pops that came out, which is great. So what today is my top 10 spider villains. I'll do another one of my Spider-Man ones, but for now I did the villains. I hope you guys enjoy, so sit back and just enjoy. So the number 10 that I like the most is Hobgoblin, which ironically is the most expensive one that I have, as you guys know. From this video posting, this is about $175 right now, which is great because 2 years ago I bought this at MegaCon for about $100, and this is so cool. So the reason why I have him as number 10 is he's very iconic, very well known. He's really a strong opponent for Spider-Man because of his glider, and he can fly, which Spider-Man has a hard time with villains that fly. And yeah, so this is Hobgoblin, number 10, and he's one of my favorites. Continuing on with the goblins, especially the one on my shirt, is number 9, the Green Goblin. We all know who the Green Goblin is. He's Norman Osborn, and then sometimes Harry took up the mantle. He's very, very well known, very iconic, one that every Spider-Man game we've always played in, he's always in there. He's always have a hard time with Spider-Man. We all know because of the same thing as the glider, which was great, and you can see here his pumpkin weapon that he throws that we all know about. So yeah, this is number 9, is Green Goblin. Number 8 is the Lizard. So the Lizard, like I said, is more of villain slash ally. He's really friendly sometimes because he's, you know, Kurt Connors. He helps Peter Parker all the time. He helps Spider-Man out all the time. The only time we've seen him was in the movie of The Amazing Spider-Man, which I gotta say, the movie was bad and the series was bad, so I don't really talk about The Amazing Spider-Man. But for some reason the Funko Pops are super expensive, which is crazy. But other than that, this is the Lizard, one of my favorites, really cool looking, and yeah, number 8. Number 7 might be a little surprising, is Kraven the Hunter. He's really cool. He is the Predator of the Spider-Man universe, the Hunter. He goes to New York, you know, tries to, you know, hunt Spider-Man down, obviously fails. He's part of the Sinister Six, which is really cool. Hopefully they do a movie with that. You know, there was always tidbits and little Easter eggs that show that, but no confirmation yet, so hopefully we'll get something with that. But other than that, this is Kraven the Hunter. The next one here is Electro. So Electro is one of my favorites too because of the comic book outfit. You know, we had originally an Electro for the Amazing Spider-Man 2, which that one, you know, was just the movie-based pop. It wasn't the actual comic pop, and the series was not that good either. But here we have the full attire of the comic book series, especially the Marvel 80th years edition, the first appearance. So you can see here is the comic book. But yeah, other than that, this is Electro, another fan favorite here. Another one that we go to is Sandman. Sandman is pretty cool. I like him because, you know, he is all sand in the pop figure. You can see the weapons, the fists, and everything like that. In terms of the history, Spider-Man 3. They could have just crossed out the whole Venom part. That one was kind of weird. So, but the whole story of Sandman, which is pretty cool, came out in that movie, and I enjoyed it. I liked it. But yeah, so I like Sandman. He's pretty cool, and the pop figure is pretty amazing. On, we're going to go to number 4. So number 4, I almost dropped it. Number 4, we have Dr. Octopus. Everyone knows who he is. Every game that we've played for Spider-Man, Dr. Octopus was already in there. He was so hard to beat sometimes, the 4 arms. Movie appearance was Spider-Man 2 with Tobey Maguire. That one I liked. That one was pretty good. I did enjoy that one. And so this is Dr. Octopus. So you saw about all of them to number 4, so we still have 3 left. And you guys probably noticed there was no symbiotes yet, so obviously you guys know the next one will be Carnage. So number 3 is Carnage. This guy is Cletus Cassidy. Obviously he'll be appearing in Venom 2, apparently, which is really nice. And in the cartoon series and in the comic books, he was always like amazing and cool looking, and he was so scary. He was really cool. He was a nice one. So number 3, Carnage. So continue on that. Number 2 is Venom. So one of the fan favorites, popular ones, one of my favorites. I'm on the bandwagon for Venom. Everyone knows who Venom is. There's a whole Venom line. You see my videos for those too. Eddie Brock. Very awesome. Same thing as Lizard. He's a villain at first and then becomes an ally sometimes and then joins, Marvel teams. If you're into comics, you'll see that eventually. But this is Venom number 2. So you guys are wondering if that one's number 2, which one's number 1? So number 1 I picked only because sole purposely of the cartoon series from Fox Kids, the Spider-Man series. It's on Disney Plus. Go ahead and check those out if you haven't watched it yet. But it is the Spider Carnage. This guy is so cool only because of his background and his Funko Pop style. Because he's a Peter Parker clone, and there's always a distinction. Either he is a clone, he's not a clone. I think he was a clone, because there was a whole Ben Reilly thing too. So, I don't know. I don't want to get into details with that. But this is a Peter Parker clone, joins with the Carnage symbiote, and then terrorizes the timeline. So really cool, really awesome, very formidable because this is Peter Parker, obviously, and this is one of my favorite ones, especially the outlook to it. He's Spider-Man and Carnage at the same time, which is so cool. So honorable mentions that I want to show, and ones that I didn't put on my top 10 list, but I still think they're so cool to show. The first one here that we have here is Molten Man. So ironically enough, I didn't realize it till I watched Far From Home and then looked up Molten Man. He's actually a Spider-Man villain, one of the oldest ones that came out in the comics. If you haven't checked that out, go ahead and do. But for this one, they did more of a monster-based movie for the movie. But he actually is his own villain, his own right to be a villain. Another one part of that movie too is Hydro Man. He has his own history as well, which is really cool. But we don't have a Funko Pop for him, but you can see here he's really cool looking for the movie itself. We all know Hydro Man was an ex-boyfriend of Mary Jane. Ends up, trying to get Mary Jane back, but then Spider-Man saves the day and takes him on. So another cool, honorable Hydro Man. Another one, we're going to keep going to the Far From Home ones, is Mysterio. So I wish they had a comic book version of Mysterio, but this one does pretty well for its own. So you can see here, it looks almost like the comic itself, which is really nice. So at least they kind of did some, detail for the comics and the history of Mysterio, which is really nice. Another one we'll do is the Kingpin. Everyone knows that without Spider-Man, there's the Kingpin, the mob boss of New York. In fact, you can see the first appearance of him is in a Spider-Man comic, because he does do a little back and forth with Daredevil as well. But yeah, so this is the Kingpin, brand new that I got recently. This is him. Another one we have is Rhino. So Rhino obviously is the one that's all brawn and no brain. Every video game that Spider-Man's in, you can tell he is the one that you have to outsmart instead of outpower, because he is like really, really powerful against Spider-Man. But if you outsmart him, he's really cool. So another Marvel Corps one, and really cool one. The next one we have is Morbius. Morbius the Vampire, another one that crossed paths with Spider-Man. He has his own movie coming out, so I'm really excited. The trailer was really cool, so hopefully, the movie lives up to the hype. And then maybe we will see Spider-Man. You know, we saw the tidbit at the end of the trailer. You know, the Vulture was in there, so it does tie in somewhat into that universe, but you never know. But obviously this is Morbius. And then another one that we have here is the Vulture. So we already had a Vulture Funko Pop, which is from Spider-Man Homecoming, which was pretty cool. But like I said, I'm more of the comic images of them that I remember back as a kid, back as in the comics and the cartoons. So they did make one for the first appearance of Vulture. You can see here, it's the Spider-Man issue as well. And he's more depicted as a vulture, which is really cool. And then the last one that I have here is Toxin, just another symbiote. We haven't really, you know, seen or heard from in, you know, the cartoons or in the comics, mostly in the comics, but no movies. But yeah, so he's part of the symbiote family, so you had to invite him over. Another one that I have that I forgot mentioned here is the Anti-Venom, another symbiote. There's so many symbiotes. I'm not going to do all of them. Okay, so this is just the last one that I have here that I forgot on my shelf is the Anti-Venom. So in terms of other, you know, villains that we haven't seen yet that I really hope they have Funko Pops for is two of them that I recall. Is one is the Shocker. You know, we did see an Easter egg of him in Homecoming, but he didn't actually have his entire suit, which was really a bummer. I really thought they were going to do that, but hopefully they have a comic book version for him for the Funko Pop lineup. And another one that was really cool is the Chameleon. We've seen him a couple times, you know, in the cartoons and the comics, sometimes in the games, I believe. But other than that, we haven't seen him too, so. But that is my discussion, my top 10 villains, as well as all the Spider-Man villains that I have. I hope you guys enjoyed. It's going to be a long week. I do have the Masters of the Universe pop figures are coming out, as well as the Batman villains that I'm going to unbox as well. I hope to do a Spider-Man, my top 10 Spider-Man, another re-edit for those. Link in the description of those old videos so you can check out which ones that I had, and you can see the difference between what a year has gone by, that all the pops that we've had that came into production. So that's it. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys later.